Hello guys, it's a warm welcome back to the channel. This is Alpha Omega Daily. This is the channel that brings you all you need to know about life in Thailand as an expat. I've got 10 years experience living in Thailand and I share my experience with you guys almost on a daily basis where possible. Anyway guys, today's topic is all about Thai girls. What do you expect, or what would you expect from a relationship with a Thai girl? Well, to give you my own experience, when I came here first, I had absolutely, that was 10 years ago, I had absolutely no idea what to expect. I had a perception, which is probably what most people would tell you, is that a lot of guys would envisage, let's say, going to a bar and meeting a girl in a bar. Regardless of whether or not she's a bar girl, let's say, but meeting a girl in a bar situation, let's say. And most of the stories that I heard about, and some of the stories that I encountered, when I say encountered, I actually met a couple of people, and I'm going to tell you about that now in a second, who met their, say, wives or girlfriends in the bar situation. The majority, if not all of those situations, ended up bad. I'm going to give you, now the names are not going to be mentioned, the actual countries involved where these guys were from, it's going to be changed just in case, but the story is 100%. I remember I met a guy one night. I was drinking with a group of Thais on the street near where I used to live. I used to live in the mother-in-law's house, and we used to drink on the street outside, and from time to time there'd be the people would pass up and down past the house. It was kind of a back street, and they'd pass up and down. And one particular night, this fella walked along, European guy, and he saw me obviously, and he stopped, and he says, how are you doing? I spoke English, and he was from Scandinavia, okay? And I more or less invited him to sit down and have a drink. Now, I was drinking Jameson, and I drink my Jameson with soda water and ice, and he was drinking it neat. But that's just by the point, that's something to do with the story. It's just that this guy, the Scandinavian fella, drinking his Jameson neat. But we sat and we spoke and we talked, and basically he told me his story. And he was at that stage, we're looking back now, that must be about 7-8 years ago almost. But he was on holiday here, and he was a free agent. He was on holiday in Bangkok and enjoying his time, and he had been on holiday at that stage for a couple of weeks, walking around or bussing around or mooching around and enjoying his time. And during the conversation, by the way, I was drinking Jameson on ice with soda, and he was drinking Jameson straight. And for an Irish man and a Scandinavian guy, I thought we could drink, that fella could drink me under the table. Anyway, he goes on to tell me about his story, and the story goes like this. He was on holidays at the time, but he had lived in Thailand prior. Now, I forget the actual full length of time it was, but I think he had been here for at least 5 to 6 years, if not more. He met his wife in a bar, and very soon after that they realised that they wanted to get married. And that's what they did. And he brought her back to his home country in Scandinavia. And they lived there for a time. And long enough for her to secure a passport for that country. Sometime after, they decided to come back to Thailand to buy a house, build a house, and to enjoy their retirement, or his retirement. And they did that. But see, you know and I know, even the dogs in the street know, that foreigners can't buy land in Thailand. Now, I heard some rumour that there's a provision that foreigners will be able to buy land, or are able to buy a lease, or something like a 99-year lease, but don't quote me on that, I don't know for sure, I just heard it. But at the time, this guy couldn't buy the land, as we can't still buy land in Thailand as a foreigner. So when you buy a house, you see, you buy the bricks and mortar, but you don't buy the land. So when they bought the house and all the deal was done, don't know how long after, but very shortly after, she decides she's had enough of the marriage, and she tells him to sling his hook. So what has he got? bricks and mortar, but what use is it, because it's on her land and the land is in her name. So the whole family moved into the house and he was out. And this is the story he was telling me. One of the things, by the way, here, your O visa, your marriage visa, if your O visa is an ordinary visa, and a marriage visa and a retirement visa are part of that O visa, let's say. But if you're on a marriage visa, for the want of a better term, I don't think you actually call it a marriage visa, it's an O visa. But if you're on a marriage visa and you get divorced, regardless of who instigates the divorce, let's say you get divorced, you've 7 days to leave the country because your visa is expired, because your visa is dependent on the fact that you are married. So in his case, whenever he got divorced, he had 7 days to get out of the country. Now in that 7 days, by the way, Lance, if you're in a situation like that, you apparently can use that 7 days to secure another type of visa if you want to stay here, like a retirement visa or something like that. But a retirement visa is another kettle of fish, because it's more expensive than a marriage visa, and there's a different set of criteria, but it is a possibility. But anyway, he didn't choose that option, and so he went back to his home country. And through the heels and the reels of it was, he was back for a holiday in Bangkok or whatever, and I asked him where was she, and he said, well, she used the passport and she was now living back in the home country. So it was a horrible situation for him, and the fact that, no, I'm not saying Thai women are like this, they're not, that's his story. I met a few girls actually on my other channel, that's it there, the big picture of Panorama. I've interviewed them, and they're living in European countries. And one of them said to me that she was married to a European man and divorced, but she was still living in the country because she got the passport. Now, I'm not suggesting for one moment that that's why women do these things. I mean, there's as many men living here, I suppose, that marry Thai women in order to get the visa to stay here. Possibly, I don't know. But, you know, wherever there's one situation, there's obviously another situation. But on the other side of the coin, the women that I meet, and I'm giving it to you straight now, as I always do, my channel, The Big Picture Al Panorama, I go down, that's my other channel, I go down to the market in Wig Wang, the Wig Wangs in central Bangkok, every night. Well, I'm not going down tonight because it's raining, but I meet sophisticated, professional, well-educated, English-speaking and young Thai ladies. Majority of them are single, and the majority of them are self-sufficient, and the majority of them aren't looking for any man to come and give them a support in any way other than emotional. So there, you know, if you go about the shortcut route and go to the bar and get to secure your relationship, you know, easy come, easy go, I suppose, okay? But if you go down the natural route and you go to areas that are not the red light districts, you're going to run into real Thai lady. When I say real, I mean people with real jobs and real, let's say, real aspirations for a decent life with a decent person. And that's the other side of it, and that's where I find myself, and I know 2 or 3 other lads that are in my situation. For example, my situation is my partner, my wife, doesn't need me to support her financially, and I don't need her to support me financially. So it's kind of an equilibrium, but you'll find that more and more and more and more. I have interviewed girls, I'll give you an example. I interviewed this girl. Her name is Wanisa, and she lives in this condominium, and she is the prime example of an articulate, modern, independent and self-sufficient and wonderful person to meet if you're looking to, let's say, form a relationship on a level, equal basis. So there's, from my experience, You can go down the route of going to the bars, and as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really work out, because the girls down there are working girls, and they don't have anything else, you see, and they're looking for someone to come along and support them. And if something goes belly up and they get a house out of it, they're going to say, well, do I really need this old guy with me? I've got a house now, I can bring my whole family into it. That's what happens. But I'm not saying for 1 minute that that's a matter of course. That is not, what you're going to find in every situation. And the vast majority, and this is my experience, the vast majority of girls that I meet are self-sufficient, articulate, independent, and are well educated and have good jobs. I interview girls in the market here. I interviewed a girl last night from my other channel who's an architect. I have girls who have their own businesses. I have girls that have a variety of. I was speaking to another girl who was working in Singapore and had her own restaurant in Singapore. There's a huge variety of, let's say, occupations that I have uncovered as a result of interviewing these girls in the Big Picture El Panorama. But for this channel, I deal more with, real life stories, and that's what this is. So I hope you got something from this video. As I said, I give it to you straight, my own experience. If you can share your experience in the comment section, please do. And I look forward to bringing you back another wonderful video very soon. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button already, please do so. Click the share button, click the like button, do all those wonderful things, and I'll bring you back another wonderful video very soon. Thanks for joining me.